Hello and welcome to what could be an absolutely huge week for Leeds United. I've got three pretty big bits of news for you today, including major rivals that have hit a stumbling block, some new weird Crysencio Summeville drama, and apparently bids being expected for Archie Gray, but that's a very complicated one. I will get to that at the end of the video. But first, subscribe. It's nice around here, isn't it? Stick around. Good vibes. Hope you like it. Cheers. Anyway, the first story of the day, Leeds United's rivals have hit a pretty big stumbling block. Southampton and Ipswich both played football last night, and ahead of us having Leicester City towards the end of the week, that could be absolutely colossal. First up, Southampton dropped 3 points against Hull, and I think off the top of my head, Southampton were at home as well, which is especially important because they've done really well at home for a very, very long time. And it wasn't just us looking for potential weaknesses in them that means that we are so encouraged by this. Russell Martin himself, the Southampton manager, called the Southampton performance rubbish, especially in the first half where possession was 50-50, but Southampton did nothing with the ball. Hull were overturning them time and time and time again. And he's also said that he inevitably expects a final day battle for promotion. That being Leeds United at home against Southampton on the last day of the season. It's a little bit terrifying to me. I don't like that very much, and I hope it will go quite well. But the good thing for us is Ipswich also struggled. They did pick up 3 points. You can't deny that. But they also conceded 3 goals at home against Rotherham, who are absolutely awful away from home. What I'm going to very quickly do is I'm going to share my screen and have a quick look at the table. So, what happened last night is Southampton could have gotten themselves to 70 points, could have quite nicely taken themselves up to the same level as Leeds United, but they didn't. It didn't work. They could have been ahead of us right now, and they are not. Leeds United are now cleanly in second place without any caveats. But importantly, Ipswich played against Rotherham. Down here. Rotherham, who, if I go to the away form table, had only scored like 9 goals away from home leading into this match. I've just realised you can't see my cursor unless I'm clicking, but there we go. They'd only scored 9 goals away from home in 15 matches before that, and then they got 3 in 1 against Ipswich. Ipswich, who normally are a fairly reliable side at home, they're third in the home form table. We're first because we've not lost at home yet, but hopefully we can keep all that up. With Rotherham being also dreadful there, and Southampton being incredibly high in the home form table as well, them losing at home is pretty big because it could break a nice run of form that they are having. So currently in the league form table, Leeds United at the top. We've not conceded a goal in our last 5. Past 10 matches, Leeds United at the top. It's when you get to 15 that we get into that little December struggle that we had and problems start happening. But I think we are currently positioned excellently for this promotion battle, and hopefully we can keep it up. Second bit of news is one of our main players this season so far has been Crysencio Summeville, and there is some ongoing drama between Crysencio Summeville and Jesse Marsch, according to something that Jesse Marsch said on CBS Sports. Yes, Jesse Marsch is still getting broadcast gigs. I don't understand it either. So Marsch has called out Summeville for training quite badly, and there was a very long quote to do with it. He said, along with Ademola Lookman at RB Leipzig and someone else at DC United. Was it DC United? I don't know. It's Jesse Marsch. I'm not paying that much attention. He said, you have to understand your players, but you also have to push them and say you have to train right. And it's less to do with earning my respect and more to do with your teammates' respect. Clearly, he sees respect as a very big thing in the world of football, and that's fair. Respect is absolutely massive. But also you can tell that his man management was absolutely dreadful from this quote. And I'll get into why in a moment. But first he said that Nonto kept Summeville in line, which we always knew Nonto and Summeville were a weird pairing that got on incredibly well. But this feels weird to me, considering Summeville said that he didn't push at all for a departure in the summer and January, and he said he probably won't in this summer if he does potentially have to stay in the Championship, which I was quite surprised by. But the fact that Nonto did force a move tells me that he's maybe not the one keeping them in line, and maybe Jesse Marsch is sort of playing favourites on this one. And you also have to look at this season. Crysencio Summeville has shone this season. He's got, I think, the 3rd or 4th highest goals and assists combined this season in the Championship. So I think this is likely down to Jesse Marsch being Jesse Marsch, not understanding his players and treating them completely the wrong way. It's either that or Daniel Farke is an absolute miracle worker who got Crysencio Summeville to remember to be a footballer and train, because I remember Farke saying something about Crysencio Summeville being unstoppable in training. He will constantly train, and he will do incredibly well when he does train, and he will target his shooting to make sure he's finishing well. So I think this is more of a Jesse Marsh issue, but there is some potential drama to be seen here, and I'm going to keep an eye on it because I want to make sure I'm making the most of Jesse Marsh completely making a joke of himself. I love it. And finally, onto our final news story. I mentioned a minute ago that Crysencio Summeville discussed that he wouldn't look for a move in the summer. Another player potentially not looking for a move, but might be subject to one, is Archie Gray, with some sources saying a bid is expected for Archie Gray to make a move in the summer. Not to say that we'd accept the bid, not to say that Archie would accept the bid. He signed a new 4.5-year contract a couple of months ago, and the sources are very split here, which makes it really hard to report, so I'm going to give you the full story as much as I can. Leeds Live, who I consider tier 3, they're often fairly accurate, but they're never 100%, have reported interest from Manchester City and Liverpool, in addition to the likes of Crystal Palace, who are looking at Archie Gray. Crystal Palace also makes sense because they tend to pick out the best players that are young from the Championship and try to develop them. Whether or not that happens, probably not, because I don't think they can afford Archie Gray. But there has been reports in interest from all across the Premier League in his services. Now, you might notice Liverpool here, and that's interesting because a Liverpool writer named Neil Jones has disagreed because he's had discussions with club sources who have said that they're not interested, which is never a 100% way of saying, so they're not interested, so they don't want Archie Gray, because that's just not how this works. But it is definitely an indicator as to, okay, so surely they'd say, can you just hold this back? Can you not reveal something? Because that happens. Journalists want to keep good relations with a club. And I sort of believe it because Liverpool, I've put red there rather than reds. I'll fix that quickly. Liverpool are fairly well stocked, both at right back and centre mid, which are the two positions that Archie Gray can play in, especially at youth level. I think it's Conor Bradley that's their right back that's coming through right now. And they don't need someone else that is incredibly young, would be looking for a spot in a Premier League squad, and can play at right back. And at centre mid, they've got plenty as well. Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, all sorts. I don't think they need any more depth there either. So I don't think a bid from Liverpool would make any sense. Now, admittedly, this doesn't discount other clubs, because you can't discount every single club that might potentially have an interest in a 17-year-old that is the most important player in the form club in the Championship right now. Not the most important player, but the most promising. I think his ceiling is higher than anyone else in this Leeds United squad because he's 17 and he's arguably one of the best right backs in the league, and he's not a right back. We can't look past that fact, and he is still a massive talent for his age, and there will be interest in him, not just this summer, but in the future, if we keep him, because I think we will. But I think the biggest threat here comes if we are not promoted, which we quite desperately need, because if we do not go up, that's where the Sharks start swinging around. That's where the Sharks go, okay, so there's clearly something here. Clearly we can make a move. And that's where we get problems. That's where the Premier League money starts to really tell, because next season our parachute payments go down. And the season after that, they go down even further. And at some point, if we don't go up, we're going to have to sell players. And I 100% hope that that isn't Archie Gray. I desperately want him to stay, but it could be a big threat. But ultimately, I want to know, what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. Like the video if you've enjoyed it at any point, and subscribe. That's always hugely... Let's stop punching that. That's always hugely appreciated. You could even become a channel member. That would be absolutely fantastic. It means that it's just a couple of quid a month, and I'm going to try and get some proper rewards going in terms of that, in terms of like video exclusivity and earliness and stuff like that. But I hope you enjoyed. I will see you later. You see, I fixed the thing as well, and it's thematic. I do choose happiness today because Ipswich and Southampton are going to crumble, and I feel really good about that. See you later.